Baie dankie Zina, goeiemiddag Kwagga. Kan ek gou vinnig vra, ek kyk na julle sogenaamde bomsquad, julle plaasvervangers byvoorbeeld, jy het redelike een van die meer ervare ouens op die bank. In die verlede sou ons as Afrikaners wat weet as die Springbokke teen Italië sou gespeel het, sou ons gedink sou 'n walk in 'n park is. Is dit nog deesdae die geval teen Italië dat spanne kan net opdag en verwag om 5 punte te kom kry teen 'n Italiaanse span?
Hallo Percy. Nee, ek dink definitief dit is een van ons fokuspunte want ek dink baie spanne onderskat hulle en dan word hulle geskok as hulle hier aankom en daai eerste afskop gebeur en hulle besef nie eintlik waartoe hulle instap nie. Ek dink vir ons dit is definitief 'n fokus dat ons seker maak ons voorberei vir hierdie wedstryd want dis 'n span wat baie confidence het op die oomblik en 'n paar goeie wenne hierdie jaar al klaar ingewerk het. So hulle gaan definitief uitkom en definitief is dit ons een van die spanne wat hulle wil wen. So ons gaan seker maak dat ons reg is en laat ons performance net so goed as moontlik kan doen.
Ross?
Thanks, Ina. How's it, Kwagga? You've sort of been the ultimate book bomb squad member this season. You know, you all 9 of your games before France were played off the bench, and then you finally got a first start against the French. How did you enjoy getting your first start? And do you sort of have a preference of would you enjoy a few more starts, or do you quite enjoy your cameo role off the bench every game? And are you hoping to bring another big one against Italy?
Yeah, definitely. I think this year I've been more part of the bomb squad, where last year I was probably more part of the playing squad when Peter Steff was injured. For me, it's definitely to use the opportunity that I get if it's off the bench or if I'm starting. It was good to start last weekend, I must say. I liked it and would have loved to play 80 minutes every game. I think that's every player that want to do that. But there's a certain role that needs to be fulfilled in the Springbok team, and it's all about the team, not about the individual. So for me, whatever opportunity I get, if it's off the bench, I'll try and make the most of it and make sure that I bring that energy.
Carl?
Thanks, Ina. Kwagga, there's a lot being said about the young guys, the pack that's busy chasing you older guys, especially at the loose forwards. How do you see their challenge and what do you do to keep ahead of them?
Yeah, definitely. I think South Africa has got a very rich culture in especially loose forwards. There's a lot of good players that comes through. For me, especially, it's just to keep doing what I do and try grow as a player. I must say it's always good competition. It's never bad competition. I like it. It's good. It makes the older guys work harder and the younger guys to realize it's not that easy to get into the team. So it's good for us all to have that positive companionship between us. I think everyone is a good player is getting his opportunity this weekend. It's never easy, especially a game like this. So I think we try to simplify things for everyone so it makes it easier for him and he can be on top of his game this weekend.
Ashfaq?
Hi Kwagga, Kwagga het nou begin span gespeel een van die bank af. Wat sal jy sê, wat is die regte tyd om 'n plaasvervanger op te bring soos julle nou sê die bomb squad of moet jy maar net kyk hoe die game gaan en dan ouens opbring?
Ja, ek dink definitief die coaches het ook 'n beter view daarvan bo af om te sien waartoe die game gaan en hulle kan rewind en goed so. Ek dink dit is 'n besluit vir hulle wat hulle moet neem op die gevoel van die wedstryd, wat se kant dit vloei of hulle voel die energie vlakke dalk bietjie gedaal dat daar dalk nuwe ouens moet opkom om dit weer op te lig of as hulle voel dit gaan goed, dis nie nou nodig nie om dan baie bietjie terug te hou en bietjie te wag voor hulle die plaasvervangers opsit.
Let's take a last question from Justin.
Thank you, Zina. Hi, Kwagga. Just in terms of the Italians and their victory over Australia this weekend, how much are you guys reading into that, and does it cause a little bit of panic in your team in order to make extra sure that you guys have their number come this weekend?
Yeah, I think it doesn't cause panic, but I think it causes awareness to be ready for this weekend, to know that it's not a team to take up lightly. They played well against Wales, also in the Six Nations, and last weekend against Australia, they put up a really good performance. I think Australia were lucky to score that last try to actually come back into the game. So it's definitely for us just a wake-up call to know that, listen, it's not going to be an easy game, and we got to be on top of our game to win them here in Italy.
How do you adapt from the pressure cold where things things seem to have in advance. For far more laid back environment, yes, as you practice it, that we are a very competitive side, but in general, a small town, a very historic town with a decent rugby culture and a smaller stadium. How do you make that shift from that intensity to this intensity?
Yeah, definitely. I think the first two test matches were against the number 1 and 2. So obviously you're up there and you want to compete against them and win them to be on the world ranking stop. But I think Italy is a team where you can easily fall into that trap if you're not ready for them, and they'll shock you the first contact probably. So for us, it was definitely to grow as a team, and I think we used the previous 2 games to get better and to make sure that we grow, because next year is the vital year that we want to win the world.
Changes that you identified in Italy from the last time you played them at the World Cup. They were a different side. They seemed not to be keen on taking on the box. But when you've looked at the past 3 games, it's been their physicality that's been quite a standpoint.
Yes, definitely. I think they got a few young players also in after the World Cup that's really brought in some energy. I think the competition that they play in locally also is really good for the URC. They get exposure against all the good teams. But I think, like you say, their physicality has been really good. I think their scrumming has also been good. So it's definitely a challenge for us this weekend to make sure that we don't fall into that trap.
What do you need to get that first win onto maybe a better execution or luck or both?
Yes. I think the previous 2 games were really tight. Could have gone any other way. So I think we were unlucky to lose those games. But for us, definitely is to work to get this win and to just get the vibe up. But I think the guys know that we actually played well in those 2 games with little areas that might have cost us the games. But I think we're growing as a team, and that's where we want to go to, and we want to make sure we keep on growing this last 2 games.
Dinge lyk dalk van buite af nou 2 verlore moeilik gaan in die kamp. Hoe kyk julle as spelers dan nou?
Ja, ek dink die 2 verlore was baie naby. Ek dink dit kan enige kant toe gegaan het, maar vir ons is dit definitief om te verbeter en seker te maak dat ons as 'n span groei, want ons werk na 'n eindpunt toe wat volgende jaar in die World Cup is. So vir ons is om elke wedstryd beter te word, en mens wil wen graag elke wedstryd, maar soms gaan dit nie na jou kant toe nie. Maar ek dink definitief die naweek, die energie is goed in die span en ons sien regtig uit om lekker saam mekaar te speel en die wen in te kry.
Further elaborate on the luck factor has been. What does it say about the narrow margins that one needs to deal with high level test rugby, especially when you need into a World Cup here?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a lot of games that we lose by 1 or 2 points. Even last year, if you take some of those games that we lost, it was by small margins. So definitely it is a test match, so it's always going to be close, especially when you play against the top tier nations and you're number 3 and they number 1 or 2. It's always going to be a close game for us. But I think, we need to narrow that down and make sure that we get the points when we need it and get the wins behind us.
What lessons have you as a team learned that will be valuable next year's World Cup?
Yeah, I think we've learned a lot from last World Cup, that we need to evolve our game and get it better, because we've lost a few games and it's almost always that 3 or 4 points or 2 points that we lose a game with. So there's a lot of stuff that we've been working on, and we're trying to get better at it, to grow our game and to make sure that we put teams away by 7 points or 10 points, so that those small calls that might not go your way doesn't have an influence on the game's result.
Can you elaborate on that? What is?
Yeah, no, definitely. We're trying to get our discipline to be the most disciplined team in World Rugby, to give as less penalties away as possible, because that gives teams the opportunity to get into your half and to score points. So for us is to work on that discipline to make sure they don't get penalties to enter into our 22 and to score points. And then to make sure that when we have the opportunity to score points, that we score it quickly and we don't burn too much energy trying to get points.